God, Jack's stepfather, teaches him more about the man than even fucking your fucking left nut.
Hey, that's good. You gave me some shit about my kids, just like in London that you designed. Never again. Stay away. You don't exist. You will not be getting my words.
Mr. Depp, could you please describe to the jury what they just heard in that audio recording?
I don't know when. I don't know when that. If there's a date on that, but clearly there was some animosity and another clash, and misheard once again. Felt it necessary to bring my kids, my son into that argument and say that she hopes that my son's stepfather can teach him how to be a man, since I couldn't. And I believe she says something about more man in the stepfather than would be existing in my, I believe the term was left nut.
How often did Miss Heard bring your children into your arguments?
Too often.
And at the end of your relationship, how was Miss Heard's relationship with your children?
Non-existent. My children, my kids are far more intelligent than I am, and they broke. They wouldn't be around Miss Heard any. They refused to be around her anymore. They didn't like the way she treated me, which was written in a very elegant letter by my daughter, actually, to Miss Heard. I don't know if that's in evidence, but I remember my daughter sent a text to Miss Heard.
Objection, Your Honor. Just hearsay. It's one thing for the witness to tell his story. It's another thing for him to tell other people's stories.
All right.
You can move on.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I read the email.
Yeah, I understand. Next question.
When did you learn that Miss Heard had filed for divorce?
Well, it was, let's see, Betty Sue was the 20th. That night I spoke to her about the divorce. 21st was the kicker. I believe it was on the 23rd, and I had already left town for New York to prepare for the tour.
Did Miss Heard know that you were out of town at that time?
I don't know.
When did you learn that Miss Heard had made domestic abuse allegations against you?
The 27th of May, which is in fact my daughter's birthday. I saw that she had gone to a court. It was, I don't know, some court, and there were paparazzi everywhere, and her and a brown mark on her face. And it was also happened to be the day that Alice in Wonderland 2, Through the Looking Glass was opening. And that's the day that she chose to go to the courthouse and get a TRO, a temporary restraining order against me. But I was in Europe already at that point.
Mr. Depp, I'd like to show you what's been marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 487. And just for the record, this is a very long document, and we will be showing pages 492 through 494.
There's no objection to the document 487?
If I could just have a minute or two to scroll through it.
Okay. I assume, are you entering this in evidence now, or are you just showing it?
I can give them an opportunity
Okay,
and go
sure.
through it with Mr. Depp, if that's okay. Mr. Depp, do you recognize any of these text messages that are on the screen in front of you?
Vague memory of these.
And who are these communications between?
It looks like myself in it's me in the green, and Ms. Heard's words in the blue.
And do your communications reflect that Ms. Heard understands that you're in New York?
I'm sorry.
What is the date of your text messages here on this page?
That's the 23rd of May, 2016. And hers are the 24th of May, 2016.
And based off of these communications, does this refresh your recollection that Ms. Heard knew that you were in New York on this date?
In her text, when do you leave? What was clear that I was leaving right away, but I'm not sure that I wasn't already, because I wasn't in New York City. We weren't playing New York City. We were playing. We were rehearsing in a like a casino, a big casino, and that was where we did our first show first show to practice for the tour, the European tour. So I don't know if I was either leaving for New York, but I think I was already there, because New York City, we weren't, I don't recall that we were playing New York City. So maybe I was suggesting going there. I don't know.
Could we please turn to page 494? And Mr. Depp, do you see the text message from Ms. Heard on May 24th, 2016 at 6:33?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Okay. And do you understand what Ms. Hurd is referring to in this text message?
Is it all right if I just take a quick glance?
Please do.
Thank you. Thank you. That's better. I remember, yes. I recall this.
And what do you recall about this?
That it made no sense to me. It just didn't make any sense to me. Especially about, well, as long as you don't file, nobody will know. It just didn't, again, I'm not all that familiar with these types of things, but if it's two people in a relationship and the relationship is ending, in any case, the outcome is divorce. So I didn't understand these explanations of this can happen or it cannot happen, and I only did this because my lawyers said to, and it just didn't make any sense to me, and it looked like she was kind of grabbing at straws, trying to figure out what, in fact, to do.
Mr. Depp, I'd like to just ask you about a couple statements Ms. Hurd makes in this text message. She first says, just confirm that the cover letter is completely private and has nothing to do with any public record. Do you see that? It's the first sentence in the text message.
Yes, I do.
Do you know what cover letter Ms. Hurd is referring to?
No, I don't.
Okay. And then she says, and only included the domestic violence / restraining order stuff because I called the lawyer when the cops were here and I didn't know what to do or why that happened and was scared. Do you see that?
Yes.
Do you know what Ms. Hurd is referring to when she said that?
No.
And then dropping down to the bottom, it says 2 lines up, I thought you filed. Do you see that?
Yes.
And do you have any understanding as to why Ms. Hurd thought you had already filed?
No. I had on the night of the 20th was when I told her on the phone that I was going to file. For divorce, and in the way that I had explained it, to keep everything nice and calm and even. But on the 23rd, Chief filed, and so I hadn't had a chance to file.
Your Honor, I would move Plaintiff's Exhibit 487, specifically the portions from page 492 to 494 into evidence.
So you just want page 492 to 494?
Yes, Your Honor, it's a 700-page document, so
Just page 4, well, are you going to ever put more of 487 in, I guess is the question.
I believe so, Your Honor.
So this is 487A?
Certainly, that would make sense.
Okay, so 487A, page 492 to 494. Any objection to those 2 pages?
No, Your Honor.
All right, those 2 pages are in evidence.
Just for clarity, is that two pages or 3 pages? Is it
490, that would be 3 pages, if that's
No,
correct.
That's correct.
Okay, 492 to 494, okay.
Could that please be published to the jury? Mr. Depp, Ms. Heard did end up seeking a temporary restraining order against you, correct?
Yes, she did.
And what I believe you already said this, but could you just remind the jury what date was that?
The 27th of May.
And where were you when you learned that Ms. Heard had actually filed a temporary restraining order against you?
I don't recall if we had left for Europe as yet. That is the Hollywood Vampires for the tour. So I was either in New York State rehearsing and preparing to go to Europe, or I was already in Europe. I'd have to check the the tour dates.
Did you find out on the 27th or shortly thereafter?
No, I found out on the 27th. It was everywhere.
And what do you mean when you say it was everywhere?
It was multiplying and multiplying and multiplying throughout media, throughout social media, throughout so-called sort of straight media or whatever. And I was taken aback a bit.
If we could take this down and please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 411. Mr. Depp, is this some of the media coverage that you were referring to?
Many things of this nature, yes. Many.
And do you recall actually seeing this specific article?
I don't remember seeing this specific article, but there were already plenty, and certainly more than I was happy to go through. I think once you read one or two of them, the general idea is I mean, the point had been made, clearly.
Your Honor, I'd move Plaintiff's Exhibit 411 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 411 in evidence.
Could we please take this down and pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 414? Mr. Depp,
Yes.
do you recognize this article at all?
I remember. Yeah, I don't know if it was this one in particular, but I do remember seeing all the various reasons behind her reasons behind her needing to get a temporary restraining order, a TRO against me, which they just started to metastasize into these. There were abuse allegations, then there was alcohol, and then there was drugs and violence, and it just, it was already right then and there before my eyes spinning out of control. And there was not a word that I could say.
Your Honor, I would move Plaintiff's Exhibit 414 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 414 in evidence.
And if we could take this down now, please, and put up Plaintiff's Exhibit 409. And, Your Honor, if I could move Plaintiff's Exhibit 409 into evidence as well.
Any objection with 409?
No objection.
All right, 409 in evidence. Thank you.
Mr. Depp, do you recall seeing this People magazine article?
Yes, I do.
And when did you see it?
Right when it was released, right when it came out.
Did you speak to anyone about this article?
Yes, I did.
Who did you speak to?
Mostly friends and my sister Christy. Mostly friends. And certainly the band. And my kids. I had to alert them that there might be some ugly things coming out that were most assuredly going to put me in the position of some violent, drug-addled, alcoholic, just reprobate. And I wanted to warn them before they were approached with the People magazine cover in school.
Thank you. All right, your next question.
Thank you. Mr. Depp, who's Dr. Kipper?
Dr. Kipper is he's been my doctor ever since I'd met him in, I believe it was that May of 2014, around there in Boston.
And why were you connected with Dr. Kipper?
My sister Christy knew, of course, that I had been addicted to the opiates, and she was concerned, and she brought me his book and talked to me heart to heart and asked me if I would be willing to go through the detox.
And what was your answer?
Yes, of course.
And you mentioned Debbie Lloyd. Can you please explain to the jury who she is?
Oh, Debbie Lloyd is a nurse who my doctor, Dr. Kipper, had assigned to my case to be the oversee the detox and deliver the meds, the medications to me that would help with my with the effects of withdrawal that one goes through. To essentially try and knock you out so that you don't go through the nastiness of the affair.
Did Miss Lloyd stay on after the detox process as your nurse?
Yes, she did.
And when you were under Dr. Kipper's care, how often did you see Miss Lloyd?
On location every day. Yes, on location every day. Even when after a year or two, I was still seeing her at least on a bi-weekly basis, 2 to 3 times a week.
When did you start the detox process that you mentioned?
I know that I believe it was in August, July or August of 2015, 14, I cannot remember the year, 14, I guess.
And where did you do this detox process?
We did the detox process happened on. I have a place in the Bahamas. I'm never comfortable saying this, but it's an island. It's a very strange thing to say, but I thought that would be the best place, the most private place where there were no worries of paparazzi or any of that. So it was a place where I could literally be the only place where I can have actual anonymity. So I thought that would be the best place to do it.
Who came with you down to the island for the detox? Nurse Debbie Lloyd traveled with me on the plane. Ms. Hurd. And I believe that was it. On the plane to go to the island for the detox, I was not bringing security. I was not bringing assistance. In fact, initially, my sister Christy was going to go there to help Ms. Lloyd and the doctor through the detox, which made perfect sense since that the whole thing had been born out of her desire for me to get clean. So initially it was supposed to be Christy coming in place of Ms. Hurd. There was a great part of me that was very uncomfortable with Ms. Hurd coming along for that detox, because as things could fluctuate very rapidly in our relationship, I was wary that those things would come up during what needed to be a very straight
detoxification of these substances, and I was well aware that it was not going to be pleasant. I was well aware that I was going to go through quite a bit of physical changes, physical. Yes, I was afraid that it would be too much for her, and I also felt that she might be too much for me at the time.
So then why did Ms. Heard come down to the island with you during the detox process?
She insisted. She switched places with Christy.
Could you please describe for the jury, Mr. Depp, what it feels like to go through a detox from opioids?
I would say the best way to describe it is it feels like it feels like the inside of you, the very inside of you, is trying to escape the body. So it's it becomes obviously very physical, and so therefore you'll go into a withdrawal would mean that you would go into you'd have immense cramps in your stomach, your muscles would seize, my body would shake. The pain is like nothing I've ever experienced before. Part of it was, so the best way to explain it, for example, there was a situation that when we were on the island and I was going through the detox, and it was hitting pretty hard at that point. And Ms. Heard had made a deal with Nurse Debbie and Dr. Kipper to stay at their end of the island, and that she would administer the drugs to me, administer the medications that I needed to not go into for lack of a better word, these intense, sharp, painful heebie-jeebies. And there was a moment when I could feel my body starting to tense, and I could feel the withdrawals coming on, and they come on quick, and they're not discreet. They go straight for the jugular. I mean, like I said, when your receptors are in full bloom and begging for the substance, the drug, the opiates that my body had become used to, these receptors that were being fed by. There was a moment when it was coming on very fast, and I was sitting on the couch in the little house that we all saw on the island. Miss Heard was at she was in the sort of kitchen area, and she was chopping vegetables, I remember. And I think it was around 2:30 in the afternoon, and the effects of the withdrawals were really coming on. And I said to Miss Heard, I'm going to need the meds now. And she said, she looked at the clock and she said, it's not time. And I said, no, you You don't understand. This is not about clocks and watches and things. I'm going into the ship, and it was visible. And I hate saying this, and I hate to have to admit this. But that was, I believe that was about the lowest point in my life. That was the lowest I'd ever felt as a human being. Because I had to say, please, please, may I have the meds? Because it's really kicking in. And she was adamant, no, it's not time, it's not time. So in explaining how these withdrawals start to take over your body, when I was begging at that point for the meds, I found that I had sort of rolled off the couch and I was sitting on the floor crying. Tears streaming down my face, begging another human being to please give me the meds that will take this away. And she would not. She was adamant that, nope, it's not time, 4 o'clock. So the only thing that one can do in that situation is you have to trick the body. You have to manipulate your body out away from those. Well, you have to trick the body to get away from the receptors. So the only thing that one can do is you go straight to the shower, and you put it on scalding water, and you stand underneath the scalding shower, and essentially you're burning the top, your skin is burning from the heat of the water. And what that would do is it would trick the nerves away from the receptors, because they had an immediate problem that needed to be dealt with, the nerves. So what it does is the scalding shower would reverse those nerve endings, and they would go up to the top of the skin because there was a problem there. So that's how I was able to bypass those withdrawal symptoms at times. It doesn't fully take them away, but what it does is it tricks your body into thinking that there's something going horribly wrong on top. So it keeps them away from the receptors. After that, I had a conversation with Nurse Debbie and with Dr. Kipper, and I said, I don't believe, I told them that she had denied me the meds when I was in need, and then I told them that I don't think that this is going to work here anymore. I think we have to leave the island, and I need to be, she can't be with me while I'm going through the rest of this detoxification. So I told them we should leave the island. I asked them if they understood what I was doing, and they did. So we went back to Los Angeles, and then I asked Miss Heard if she would please allow me 5 days, 7 days, whatever it took to get finished with the rest of this horrific detox and the pain.
Did Ms. Heard give you that time?
She did, reluctantly, yes. I was immediately accused of throwing her out. I was accused of abandoning her. I was accused of not appreciating all that she had done to get me to this point where I was, which was kind of an interesting argument for me. I begged her, please, can I get a place at the Beverly Hills Hotel? I'll get you and your friends a bungalow at the Beverly Hills Hotel where you can all stay together and have a grand old flag. You can have fun, you can do whatever you want, and you don't have to sit around Mr. Shaky. And she wasn't happy about it, but it was very necessary. So she did eventually leave for about five days or so, and I sat in after a few days, I sat in a metal chair with one song on a loop that I could focus on the lyrics and the power of the song to help me get through it. And even once the effects started to go away, that is the pain, I was still in this something strange that happens. You feel electricity in your body. You feel this electric, very foreign, and you're just sitting there like going through it. And I didn't understand what the electricity was until probably, and this lasted for, the electricity, that feeling lasted for a month, 2 months. And I finally realized at a certain point what that electricity was. And I was feeling, that's what it was. I was actually feeling, without the aid of the drug, without the aid of any drugs. I mean, I had refused with Dr. Kipper and Nurse Debbie and Amber at the table before she left for the hotel with her friends. I had refused to continue taking the phenobarbital and the lithium because to me it was just another drug in the way. It seemed like it was just another hurdle to get over.
We talked a little bit about the term monster yesterday, correct?
Yes, I've heard that word quite a lot, yes.
Yeah, and you testified yesterday that you used that term to placate Amber, right? And I believe that you testified that it was the word that she clung to describe what was in her mind, not yours. I wrote down what you said. You remember giving that testimony?
The monster, more than anything, was Ms. Heard's way of referencing whether she perceived that I was on substances or taking substances. So the word monster became, it represented for her the consumption of alcohol or any other substances, whether it was actually happening or not, her perception. And so monster became her click word,
right,
if you will.
But actually the term monster to describe yourself came from you.
Well, initially, Miss Heard, I believe she started out with demons. She started out with, saying that I had demons. And then when monster was put into a conversation, which, again, my